feel a little uncomfortable. So let's start with the basic, just a heel sit. So my toes come together, my heels apart, and my sit bones are going to release through my feet. My knees can be together, right, if they need to be a little bit wider apart. Do it from the side. And I just kind of want to feel my tail relaxing, so my core naturally wakes up. If this isn't available to start, I'll just keep some weight forward. So I'll kind of move into all fours, maybe starting there, right, and then slowly moving back, almost like you were going to go into child's pose. I'm just kind of checking in with the weight there, and then slowly, as it feels comfortable, then you can sit in your seat. Often I have clients that have knee pain, so we can use a block underneath the hips, so that's going to give me a little bit more space. Right? Sometimes that's still not enough. I can use 2 blocks. Right? And sometimes bringing that high up is more comfortable. It's how we build that heel sit position. Also a blanket or bolster behind the legs helps support the heel sit. Okay? The other issue can be with the top of the ankle. So I don't have a blanket, but I have my pants. So I can bring a little cushion behind the ankles like such, which will give me a little more space so it can feel a little more comfortable for the ankles. Same thing with the knees. If I have a towel or blanket, then I can support the knees with that as well. This is not that comfortable. Okay, so second position is the foot cross heel sit. So I'm actually going to pick up my left foot. I'm going to swing the right foot in and place the top of the left foot on the bottom of the right. And I'm going to sit back in that position, opening up the foot. So this opens up the bottom of the fascia of the right foot and really starts to help open up the joints and helps to ground also energy through your feet. If you've been had a lot of tension in your feet, it can help relax them as well. This is position here. Same thing applies. You can place stuff behind your knees, under the ankles. You can not put all your weight in to start. For this one, I often do feel I want to open my knees just a little bit wider. And then if it feels really comfortable, then you can just play with weight shifting, which is going to kind of create more of like a deep tissue massage. And then I'll do the other side. So I'm going to switch. I want the top of the arch of my foot to mold in the bottom arch. Right? So I place my knees as wide apart as I'm comfortable. Same thing here. You may notice like this side has a little more tension. Right? So my hip kind of doesn't drop the same. And so I'll spend a little more time on this side with this. Okay, next posture is toe sit. So I'm going to curl my toes. And I can again start with just playing with easing into it, and easing out. Sensing weight in my hands, into my shoulder blades, easing into it. Feel knee weight, feel hand weight, and that weight translates all the way into the pelvis, into the shoulder girdle. And as I ease into it, as it feels good, I'm going to come up. Now, when I come up, it's kind of a weird angle the way I'm on my toes. So I'm not going to move my foot. Right? I'm going to weight shift into my right for a moment, and I'm just going to slide this knee back. See how that takes the heel back as well. And now I'm more on the ball of my foot versus bending my toes so much. called toe sit, but we actually want to sit on the ball of the foot. The toes just curl underneath, ideally, or eventually. My pinky toe can get stuck behind. This is shorter, so sometimes I just kind of pull it forward. Okay. Then I'm going to take the other knee, weight shift left side, and I'm going to pull that right knee back. Okay. Now I can really feel my heels underneath my sit bones. So a couple things to look for in toe sit is your feet doing really weird wonky things. Okay. So if I have a lot of tension in my feet, they can do weird things like this. Okay. So ideally, I want my heels kind of find where my sit bones are. Okay. Then my sit bones will have a resting shelf to sit on. And then my tail can drop. And when my tail drops, then my core wakes up. In all these postures that we're sitting down, the legs and hips are learning to relax, the core starts to wake up in a deeper, more subtle way. Okay. So the more that my tail releases, the more my shoulder blades can relax, the more my neck can relax. Right? So often one foot can be a little rolling out, so I want to try to feel weight equal from the inside of the ball of the foot to the outside. Just checking in with where I feel that weight through my whole body. I like to do the foot cross positions before toe sit. Like that helps open up the fascia in the feet, gives you a little better access to toe sit if it's really challenging for you. Okay. So the other option of toe sit can be to roll up something underneath the ball of the foot. So again, if I had a towel, which I should have brought, but I'm all the way up by my pool. But I can roll up, and we'll get the idea, and I want the edge of this claw to support the ball of my foot. So I'm lifting up the ball of the foot a little higher so that the toes don't feel overstretched. Sometimes that works. The other option can be bringing the knees up a little higher, which again puts the weight a little further back, more into the foot, ball of the foot, versus in the toes. Okay? You don't stay there for too long. You want to change positions as your body feels comfortable. So toe sit is one of the more challenging postures. A way that I ease people into toe sit can also be with blocks. Right? So grabbing these blocks here, and just like the heel sit, I can bring the blocks in between, sitting back. So there I have less weight, but I'm still wading through the feet, right? And getting the neurology of the shape. Right? And that can be another great way of starting to find access to toe sit. Right? Toe sit is super important, as in the video I just posted. It's a way to get up and down off the ground. Or I didn't do up and down off the ground on that one recently. But it's a great way to just step forward, whether I'm coming up or not. So if I want to come up in a lunge position here, right, that I can use my toe, the curl of the toe, to also help me come up to standing. So I push off the back of that foot. Okay, next is, we'll say squat. So the squat as well. So just a basic squat. I'm going to see what the comfortable distance of my feet are. And knees, right? So lots of different shapes for squat. It could be parallel feet if that's usually a little more advanced. In yoga, you'll often see, I think it's called malasana, where the feet are all the way together. Right? That one's a little bit more challenging. And then they add like a bind. But just a regular primal basic squat. I'm feeling some tension in my right ankle. That's interesting. Is this position. I want to get my head forward. So I want to get my body weight forward, my head forward, so that I can feel weight in the whole foot. Right. So I don't want weight just in my heels. That's going to put a lot of tension in the front of the ankle, and the quad's going to hold. And I really want this to be more of a resting squat. Okay. So having my hands together, my arms to rest down, that helps me pour my weight. Some people bring their arms in. And I want to kind of feel my head to tail connection. And I think of it like feeling the weight of the brain, feeling the weight of the bladder. And that actually helps me feel float and suspension naturally. As I feel breath, I want to make sure my head feels light. I want to feel the weight of it, which makes it feel light. So, ways to support your squat is, as one video I posted was holding on to a tree. So holding on to something. Also, using your yoga blocks. Right? If you have a staircase in your home, you can sit on stairs, the top staircase, and put your feet at the one below it. Right? And then practicing and allowing the tail to release back and the head coming forward. Right? And I want to feel the core integration into this. Right? I want to feel a sense of resting down. It's not that I'm forcing myself into a shape. I'm teaching my body how to rest down on the ground. So I don't want to force the journey. I want to allow it to unfold. So this is also a great alternative. The other alternative for squat is another primal posture called, I call it Cowboy sit, from my studies with Philip Beach, who wrote Muscles and Meridians. So Cowboy sit is basically a heel sit. So I'm sitting on one heel, which rolls out. I'm gonna weight shift in onto that ankle heel, and I'm gonna bring the right foot forward. Okay? So I end up in this position right here. And from the side, here. Okay, so same thing, I want to feel my head move forward a little bit, feeling that the tail to release and that hip to release. And I'm going to let my head then find what feels like a neutral place. And I don't mean it has to be up and down. Neutral, I mean relational. How is everything relating to each other? How are my limbs and my head and my spine in neutrality and not holding excess tension to be in a position, in a right position. So I'm checking with the weight of my foot. Again, like the tripod, using the big toe mound, pinky toe mound, and the heel as the guide. I want to feel the weight pouring equally in that foot. Right? And I want to check in with this from the ankle. If it's really holding a lot of tension, right? I want to really try to think about the bottom lower leg relaxing down, which will help soften that tension, right? That holding tension. I want that really relaxed. Sometimes it's just a neurological. It takes a moment for your body to rest and relax and let go of the holding. Coming slightly forward, right, may be more available, right? So the further I go back, the more I'm asking the tissue in the back of my ankle to stretch, right? And I may not have that available, so I may need to keep my foot slightly forward for now, right? Which won't fully support a squat yet, but as you practice this, the foot will be able to come back more and more, because all of this tissue, your ankles and knees and hips, will start to open. Okay? So another way to support this would be a block, right? So I can bring it long ways where it's now supporting the squat, and it's supporting the heel sit. So then that makes it more comfortable on that ankle as well. I'm connecting to my whole self, my breath. I'm just going to check in and see how this position feels and listen to the cues of my body's discomfort for when it wants to move out and change shape. It's always good to do both sides so that you can assess. The brain loves to notice contrast. Right? And so I'm going to sit, this side is actually not wanting to do the same thing. Interesting. I'm going to go into my heel sit to start. And I'll weight shift into the right side. But this isn't accessible to weight shift here, right? And you have yoga blocks, right? You can help yourself. I can come up, I can place my foot, I can slowly ease back down if I start to feel anything in my knee. I can support myself. Really listen to your knees. They're really good signs and indicators of your limits. Right? You shouldn't feel pain and discomfort in your knee. You may feel a little stretch in your quad. You don't want to feel too much of a stretch. You really want to be in a position eventually where, wow, that is tight. Wow, I've got something going on in my right ankle or something. Okay. Yeah. So you really want to be in a position that your body's not talking to you a whole lot like it is to me right now. So I'm going to just come back to this little block. That was actually really nice. Yeah. So there you go. Every day is different. I usually have full access to that posture on that side, and I've been having some neck and shoulder. So it's just probably that it's all connected thing happening. Yes. So we did heel sit, we did foot sit or foot cross sit. You can call these postures whatever you want to call them. We did toe sit, and then now this is cowboy sit. Today, and we will add some more primal postures another time. There's lots and lots and lots, and I can just give you some cues on how to support them. Just one of the main cues I'll just share is to listen to your body. It's not about holding longer is better, but really listening to the body's cues of discomfort. If we think about children that are often put on the floor, you'll notice that they start to move, and if you have time and you're waiting and there's children around the floor, if you watch them, you will actually see them move in and out of these primal postures just instinctively. So these are primitive ancestral memories in our body, and that the more we practice access to them, it wakes up a deeper intelligence that we may not be fully conscious of, but it's postures that help us remember how we can move more freely and more integrated in this world. Yeah, so children will move frequently when they're on the floor. As adults, we often tell them to be still, but actually they're doing what's innate to them, and they're changing positions because their body is telling them it's time to find another shape. It's time to find another shape. So I often give myself permission to be restless when I'm on the floor. Yikes! And I think that's our sign. It's getting windy and rain's probably about to come in. But thank you for following me and my